Yo, what is going on, guys? I'm here with a super new video. Today we're back for the WPL Week 1 transactions, Week 2 transactions. I would say these are Week 2 transactions because they happen on the second week. Well, they go into effect on the second week, but they happen on Week 1. So, I don't know. Would they be Week 1 or Week 2? I don't know. But they're transactions for my WPL team. The San Diego Sneasels. We are going to be dropping 3 mons and picking up 3 new mons, and we're going to be swapping over a Z-mon as well because one of my mons I decided to drop was a Z-mon, and I'm going to be putting it on something I feel like could really help with Z-moves. So yeah, anyway, let's jump straight into this. The first mon I decided to drop in this video is Manaphy. Manaphy, it's a good mon. It definitely is, but when I already have, it's a pretty decent bulky water plus offensive water, which is nice, but I already have a bulky water which easily outclasses it in Vaporeon. And offensive wise, I feel like it doesn't do enough. Sure, it's base 100 around the board, but it just isn't that strong overall until you get a tail glow up or until you have the Rain Dance. It's not strong enough, and the fact is Manaphy isn't, in my opinion, that good without a boost. Base 100 isn't bad, but for a tier 1 I feel like Manaphy doesn't work very well. And you could say yes, you have a Victini which is also base 100 around the board, and I do, but difference here is I feel like Victini is more viable because it can run things like the Choice Scarf, the Choice Band. The issue with Manaphy is it can't do that because you pretty much have to have a boosting move for it to be viable. So you can't bring Choice Locks, stuff like that, and the item's generally going to be that Z move, and I don't know, I feel like Manaphy doesn't do much different stuff. It's definitely a great mon, and behind the right team I feel like they could get it to work. But behind the team I have this season, I do not believe Manaphy is a mon that fits on that team very well. Of course, if you watch my week 1, I didn't use Manaphy very well. But, or it just did, I don't know, it didn't feel very right on my team for me. But, this was my Z captain, so I decided to change my Z captain over to Victini. Yes, I just said about Victini using different items, but I feel like having the option for a crystal on Victini would be nice. It just opens up the door for me to do more with Victini. But what I decided to drop Manaphy with was actually going to originally be Zapdos. It said on the sheet it was still available, but blame Sohan because it wasn't. So instead I picked up another electric type in tier 1, one of the newest mon in the game, and that is Aurora. I absolutely love Aurora. I've had a decent chunk of time using it, and this thing is so good. I really like how it makes my team feel a lot more offensive. It has base 143 speed, which is incredible. I believe that outspeeds everything in the game other than like everything allowed in Draft League. I could be wrong on saying it doesn't outspeed Ninjask, does it? Let me have a look. It's base 143. What's Ninjask? Isn't that base 150? Yeah, base 160. What's Electrode then? It's slower than Electrode as well, actually. But that's the only 2 mons I think it's slower than that are allowed. So that makes it very good because, let's be honest, neither of those mons are actually good. And having over base 100 on both of its offensive stats, even if it just is base 112 and 102, it's still over 100, which is nice. Defenses take a bit of a hit, but they're not that low. They're all around 80-ish. I do believe defense is 75, yeah, but Plasma Fist hits incredibly strong. Choice Band is Plasma Fist, Choice Band in close combat, they all hit very hard. And it also has options like HP Ice, of course, and it actually can go special if you want it to. T-Bolt, Volt Switch, stuff like that. Physically wise, it also gets moves like Low Kick, Knockoff, Outrage. Some pretty good stuff. But I just believe Aurora looks better on my team. Increases my speed tiers, which I don't think are very strong right now. I mean, they're decent, but they're not what I want them to be. And I've increased that. and have also increased what I feel like is kind of the offensive pressure my team brings, which I feel like it didn't bring very heavy offensive pressure that much before, but I do believe it brings a bit more with this trade. So I'm really happy with this trade. I feel like I still would have preferred if I dropped this for Zapdos, but Zorora is definitely a nice second option. I also had, you know, two other options, which I probably should have gone with one of Blacephalon or Kartana, but, you know, I went with Zorora, and I'm still happy with this trade, so, yeah. Moving on, my next drop was Stack Attacker. I mentioned, I believe, in my draft analysis, I feel Stack Attacker is a very one-dimensional mon, and, you know, also not really being able to use Trick Room with my team with this mon, it doesn't help. It just doesn't, because if I get Trick Room up, I will go for as many kills as I can get with this, but then I will probably get reverse swept because my team doesn't function under Trick Room at all, especially with the new Zorora on my team. So, unfortunately, I had to drop this. I feel like this was something I had to do, and I was and of course this mon gets rocks, so I did want to pick up another hazard setter at least. So I decided to pick up Rose Raid. I know it's a bit random compared to Stack Attacker, but I like the option of having both spikes and T-spikes. I don't think anything on my team got spikes or T-spikes. I could be wrong about that. But it also gets access to a nice offensive pressure with Dazzling Gleam, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, stuff like that. Extra Sensory, HP Ice, of course, Hidden Power, anything, of course, because anything gets Hidden Power. But yeah, I also really like Subseed with this, but I feel like it's not the greatest because it doesn't have great stats, of course. But overall, I like them on. Base 125 special attack is very nice. Base 90 speed, you know, it's a bit to be wished for, but from a tier 3, I don't mind that speed tier. Base 105 super def is pretty nice, but the other stats aren't great. 60, 70, and 65. Not incredible, but I feel like it just brings enough to the team to be viable anyway. You know, the abilities are actually all pretty decent for this mon. Natural Cure, I doubt I'm going to run that because it can't be toxic, of course, but unless it's by Salazzle because it's a poison type. But, you know, the other two abilities, in my opinion, are a lot better. Poison Point, you know, not the greatest, but it's still pretty viable. There's a lot of physical attackers in this, and if I can get them poisoned, I'll take it. And then mainly Technician. You know, it doesn't, okay, it helps a bit, you know. I guess it doesn't really, does it? But it does, in a way. Some moves that this uses get boosts from that, and I like it. Of course, Hidden Power gets a boost from that, because that's base 60, and that's pretty helpful. Now, it's pretty great. It also gets a good amount of items I feel are viable on it, and I'm really happy with that. So, this trade, I feel like I didn't have to make, but it made sense to at least drop Stack Attacker. I don't know if Rose Raid maybe was the best thing to pick up for it, but I do believe it was a pretty good pickup in the long run. Now, the final thing I decided to drop for this team was Alolan Ninetales. Now, I realized I wanted another Rapid Spinner, or Defogger, mainly a Rapid Spinner, and I looked at it and there wasn't many available, of course, you know, a load of them gone. So, I was looking at tier 2, and Starmie was still available, so I had to figure out which one of my tier 2s I wanted to drop, and it was between Lando and Alolan Ninetales, and while I feel like Alolan Ninetales brings a good chunk to my team, Aurora Veil, Hail for Sandslash to get the boost in, and just being really quite powerful on the special side, even though it doesn't have the strongest special attack, only 81, it still hits so hard after a nasty claw boost, and even before it hits pretty hard, but yeah, I feel like I just wanted another spinner, and I feel like Starmie definitely fits the team pretty okay. I dropped a water type, so here's another one of those. Gives me the psychic typing, which I believe I already hit 2 of, but honestly, 3 psychic types that none of them I think have the main psychic type. They all have, you know, Victini's main is fire type, and then is the secondary typing is psychic. Starmie's main typing is water, secondary typing is psychic, and Bronzong's main typing, to my knowledge, is steel. I think steel's the main typing, and then psychic would be the secondary one. But yeah, so this thing gets a good chunk of it gets two good abilities as well. Natural Cure, which works a lot better because this can be toxic, and so T-Wave is pretty effective against this. So I would pretty much, I'd like to bring Natural Cure sometimes, and then Analytic, which you know, if I run like a semi-slow army, can actually be viable. You know, it's not the greatest ability because for this mon at least, because it has base 115 speed, so you know, you have to move last to get the boost, so it's like, I don't know, maybe it's not always helpful, but it can be. Base 100 special attack is very nice, it's an improvement from Ninetales. Base 85 on both defense stats, I believe, is a drop from Ninetales. Let me have a quick look. Defense is actually higher, but the SPDF is a lot lower. And then my HP is lower than Ninetales by 13 points, but my attack stat is stronger, and you see a physical attacking Starmie is all we need in life. No, I'm joking, but Rapid Spin, of course, is like the only viable physical move this gets. And it's the only viable move that I feel like I'd use physically for this. So yeah, but those are the 3 trades I made to my team. You guys can say how you feel about them in the comments. I feel like overall, they do help my team. However, I feel like I could have made better trades. I don't really know. I'm happy with Aurora, but the other 2 I feel like I could have maybe made some better trades. But I'm still pretty happy to have both of them on this team because they both fill roles that I previously didn't really have. I had a spinner in Sandslash Alolan, but it's mainly going to be an offensive thing when I run it. But yeah, you may question why I still have Sandslash if I don't have Ninetales. The reason for that is it actually isn't a bad mon in general. I feel like I can still get it to work sometimes, and it's a tier 5. I'm not going to bring it that much, but if I do bring it, it can still put in some work, even without the speed boost. So, yeah. Anyway, that is going to be the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But, yeah. Hope you guys are excited for WPL Week 2 in a few days. These trades obviously are active, and I do bring a couple of these more. I do bring 2 of them for my Week 2 against Fizz. So, yeah, hope you guys are excited for that. And, yeah, that's going to be this video. Thank you so much. And bye.